Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nomadic Timbo, and today I'm going to talk to you about 6 more ways solo traveling can help your personal development. So, stay tuned. Number 1, you learn new skills. I can definitely tell you guys that the 2 skills that I'm most proud of learning since I've been solo traveling are definitely how to read and write. Yeah, I know that was bad humor, I know. No, but seriously though guys, particularly when I've been doing work and holiday visas in Canada and also Australia, like there's a few skills that I've definitely learnt on the way, like particularly the hospitality environment, also like farming and like manual labor as well. And I think probably my favorite example of the 3 was probably doing labor work, because you end up using a lot of different tools that you may not have had the chance to use when growing up. It makes you feel much more handy, whether it comes to like jobs, like particularly physical jobs where like labor is involved, but also it actually can help you with DIY and like home improvements. So I think that's one of the best ones for me, I think. Seriously though guys, it doesn't matter who you are going to learn new skills with whatever it is you're doing when you go solo traveling, particularly when you do work in holiday visas, or if you just work wherever it is you're traveling to. Because more than likely, like unless you have like a trade or something where you go into an industry where you already have qualifications for, you probably are going to like end up doing some different jobs compared to what you used to doing, but I mean that in a really, really good way. So it actually adds more to your CV as a result. So yeah, it really is a very, very useful thing, definitely. Number 2, you find out you have strengths that you didn't realize that you had. This one is probably one of my favorite benefits about traveling alone. And it goes back to the work and holiday visa. Like I mentioned on the previous point, like different things that I did when I was in Australia in particular. One of the best examples for learning strengths that I didn't realize that I had, particularly when it comes to the world of work, is that like when I was farming, I was doing sheep roasting. I know it's typical for a Welsh person to work with sheep in some way or another, right? But but no, jokes aside, that combined with hay carting was super, super hard work, very, very physical, and a lot of times I was doing it in 35-degree heat or more, and for a Welsh person, that's definitely pretty brutal. Oh, actually, it ended up being a big confidence booster, because I really understood that I was capable of doing things that I didn't realize I was capable of doing, like working very physical kind of work in those conditions. Really, really made me think, oh wow, I'm actually not only physically stronger, but mentally stronger than I thought I was. The other thing too is that with new activities that you try, particularly ones that are very, very audacious or very daring, but you decide to give them a go anyway, whereas before you might not have, then again, you just have like a boost of confidence, and yeah, you understand that, wow, actually I'm doing things or giving things a try that I didn't realize that I was capable of. And you end up doing well in them most of the time. I mean, not everything is going to be for you, obviously. Overwhelmingly, the things that you do try end up being really, really good for you as a result. So yeah, it's pretty cool, definitely. It doesn't really matter who you are, guys. Whatever experiences that you have, you are definitely going to become mentally stronger, because there's no question that when you go out of your comfort zone in general, you are definitely going to understand that you have like capabilities that you really didn't know that you had to begin with. And when you realize that you can do these things, you're going to feel amazing about yourself, seriously. So yep, keep an eye open for that one when you do travel alone. Number 3, you find out ways to work on your weaknesses. Now, I mentioned that you realize that you have strengths that you didn't realize that you had in the previous point. However, there are going to be times where you find out that you do have like maybe weaknesses that you didn't realize that you had as well. But I think what's really cool is that you're in an environment already where you are determined to make sure that you turn those weaknesses into a strength. Like, none of us are going to be perfect. It's never going to happen. But you can definitely try to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Learning your weaknesses is a good way for that. If you work on them and then you better yourself, then again, you're going to feel really, really good, because you are going to just naturally improve, not only as a human being, but also maybe when it comes to work or like other things in general, or even just life in general for that matter. When you solo travel for a long time, it's very, very easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you've got it all figured out. And I kind of have a little bit at times. You do continue to make mistakes now and again, and that's okay. As long as you learn from them and you're determined to make sure that you don't do those mistakes again, and you actually turn them into like maybe an extra positive dimension to your personality, then yeah, that's fantastic. It's really, really good to make sure that you do become, again, like the best version of yourself. And one of the ways to do that is definitely to overcome as many weaknesses as you possibly can. But yeah, I mean, the fact that you're solo traveling and you're out of your comfort zone, it means that you really, really force yourself to make sure that you do try to get rid of the flaws that you found out that you've actually had. Or like if you become humbled in some ways, then yeah, just make sure you educate yourself. Gain more knowledge. Again, that's going to lead to you becoming a better person overall. Number 4, it can lead to career opportunities. Now, on the previous video, I mentioned an example of some friends of mine who were doing scuba diving in Koh Tao in Thailand. They only just gave it a try. They ended up loving it so much that they turned it into a career and they became diving instructors. So I think that's probably one of the coolest examples I can come up with when it comes to helping your career in general. For me personally, like one really good example, no, actually 2 good examples that I've got was when I came back from an Asian trip. But yeah, a friend of mine invited me to go and live with him in Oslo. So I thought to myself, oh, you know, that's a good idea, because I know that you can make a lot of money in Oslo. So thankfully, you know, he allowed me to live in the apartment. What was really good as well was that I applied for many different recruitment agencies, and thankfully I got an opportunity very, very quickly to work for H&M in a warehouse. That ended up being great because it was a physical job, which I really loved doing, but you got paid like a lot of money. Because of that, you save a good amount in a decent amount of time, so it means that you can go off traveling again really soon once you've put in the hours required for that. Another example too is that since COVID has been going on, I've ended up teaching English online for the last 6 months, and it has been a blast. It has been fantastic because you end up meeting people from all over the world again, and that's what I love about solo traveling in general. Not only that too, but you actually help them develop their like English speaking skills. It just gives you that extra kick. You just feel like you're really helping people out. When you see them react in a way where they feel very, very happy about their progress, then yeah, it just gives you an extra kick. So yeah, that's another example. But again, like I said, guys, it will be no different to you. It'll definitely open up career opportunities for you. You will come across something where you think, whoa, I actually really love doing this. So yeah, you end up like maybe doing a job that you potentially love somewhere down the line. Well, it's quite rare I come across people who actually genuinely love their job. But since I've been traveling, I've met a lot of people who started traveling alone to begin with, and then they ended up running a business. Like, well, if you watch my first video, then that gives like a really good example of that. And I'll put the link in the description below to make sure you can check that out. But yeah, that's like an example in ways in which solo traveling can lead you to, you know, fantastic career opportunities and maybe even running your own business. And if you end up running a hostel too, you will probably get similar vibes to traveling in general, because you'll end up meeting people from around the world and you'll end up bonding with them and you'll end up connecting with them. So yeah, you just get the same kind of pleasure. Number 5, you gain more knowledge and education. I can tell you guys that one of my favorite things actually about traveling alone is the knowledge that I've gained, because I just find it so fascinating when I experience different cultures and different people from all over the world. You end up having such a wide variety of interesting conversations with them. If you make sure that you really let it sink in what they're saying, then wow, you really, really do become very well-rounded as a person. And then when it comes to speaking to people, whether it's an individual or whether it's a group chat, you find out that you really hold your own. There's many, many different topics that they can talk about, but you'll manage to contribute pretty well to the conversation. You end up like not only listening a lot, but also maybe even adding a lot of value to the conversations too. One of the things that makes people really click is the conversations that we all have, of course. The more that you know, then the better you are going to be when it comes to a group chat in general. And the last one, it gives you more motivation to see more parts of the world. Well, I can tell you guys that traveling for me has definitely turned into some form of drug. When I was in my 20s, when I was meeting people from around the world and going to a few different countries, I just had to see more. I just had to like explore. I really needed to see as many as I possibly could in a short frame of time. Not that I'm saying that I was rushing around, because with each destination I go to, I always try to make sure that, and I really recommend this to you guys as well, I definitely think it's a good idea to allow yourself to stay in a certain area for a certain amount of time, just to let it sink in, just to get like a good understanding what the place is all about. Because if you go from place to place to place to place in quick succession, then I don't think you really are giving yourself an opportunity to properly experience whatever like cool culture and cool people there are around and cool food there are to experience, because you just don't give yourself enough time for that. Whereas if you stay in each destination for at least 4 days or more, even weeks for that matter, or months maybe, then you really do get a proper, well, you definitely get a good understanding what it's all about. One of the things that I will say though is that when I was in my 20s, I felt the need to see quite a few different countries. Again, like I said before, I wasn't rushing around, but I wanted to see a lot of different countries, particularly given that I'm European, because where we're lucky in Europe is that everywhere is pretty close together, and it's like a short flight away, or even, you know, you can travel by bus or train or something and you can get to where you want for relatively cheap as well at the same time. To be honest guys, it doesn't matter where in the world you are, you can definitely experience like a lot of different countries. And I mean, if you experience a lot of different countries, then you got some amazing stories to tell people. I mean, it's up to them whether or not they're interested in it, but in my experience, like, the vast majority of people take great fascination into what it is you're talking about when it comes to your experiences when traveling abroad. And the last thing that I would say as well is that, guys, there are going to be reservations that you'll have in your head and hurdles that you'll be creating in your head before you end up solo traveling, because it's only natural to feel kind of scared before doing it. But if you're willing to take that leap of faith, I can guarantee you definitely won't regret it. It's going to change your life in a very positive way. You're taking a big step in a larger world. I know that's a quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars. So, no, but I mean, that's a really good way of describing it. And I know that COVID is getting in the way of things at the moment, but I know that with a lot of you guys, once this is all over, this pandemic, you are definitely going to have the itch to go traveling. And one thing I will say is make sure you use that as proper motivation and drive to make sure that you actually get the chance to experience as much of the world as you possibly can, particularly while you're young. Doing it while you're young is the best way, I think, because as I mentioned before, you gain so much knowledge and education, and then that's going to put you into a really good position when you get older. And who knows, it might lead you to great career opportunities, and yeah, you'll just end up having an amazing life in general, for sure. So yeah, there you have it guys, those are my 12 points overall. And I hope you enjoyed both videos, and I'm looking forward to coming up with more content soon. And again, thank you so much for the support that you've already given me. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.